Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bleeding Metal podcast. My name is Pia, she, her, and as always, I am joined by
Kiki, she, her, hello.
And today we have a guest. Hello, please introduce yourself. You're not new.
Yeah, I visited this format a longer time ago. But hi, I'm Jenny/Joko, also she, her, and happy to be here. Thanks.
Good to have you again. Yes.
I invited you and also kind of invited Kiki. You're my guest today, I would say.
I feel so honored to be a guest in my own podcast. Yes.
I would like to talk about the topic of searching for a band because, Kiki, when I got to know you, I think you just left your band Vampirica and when we were at the Metal Female Voices Fest together, you also had this promo CDs with you and you said, well, you are looking for a new band.
Oh my gosh, right. I had forgotten about that. Wow. That's true. That's amazing.
Yeah. And Jenny, I think you left your band past year or already 1.5 years ago?
1.5 years ago. I think it was end of 2021. Yeah.
And you also are looking for a new band. And I don't know, where shall we start? Maybe, Kiki, we can start in your history as a musician.
Oh my gosh.
Tell us about your band.
My non-existing band.
Your previous band.
Yes. Well, I was thinking about this, about how I feel about this and how I would talk about it today. I was thinking, do I consider or do I still consider myself a professional singer? And it's really difficult, I think. It's a really difficult question that I ask myself. But I would say I would always consider myself a singer, whether I am actively in a band or making music or not. It's part of my identity. I think I've said that before in several episodes. I've sung my whole life. I started taking lessons formally 20 years ago. Way to feel old. And I founded my first band when I was 16. All of that was in Ecuador still. When I moved to Germany for university, I looked for musicians again and started another band, which is the one you just mentioned, Vampirica, that I left when I moved here, where I live now. And then over here, I started working as a vocal coach for over 1.5 years or around 2 years. And even though that is 10 years ago, I have kept doing collaborations. I have kept taking lessons and learning and trying to get better. My whole life, I was into classical singing. I think I'm very good at it. And now I'm enjoying trying to learn harsh vocals as well. So it's always a process. It's always a work in progress, I guess. But that's my history. It's singing is something also, I think, very, very personal and intimate. And that is why it's so deeply rooted in our being, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's funny because, Jenny, I think you start learning clean vocals, right? Or you're practicing.
Exactly. I'm doing this because I started with the other way around, let's say. So I started with the guttural vocals, and I would also say I'm quite good at it because I always trying to improve myself, as you mentioned just before. It's the same for me, just in getting better and better in this topic again. But I think I wanted to learn clean vocals because also here it's the other way. So if you are doing guttural vocals, it's not like this intimate thing because it is still some character you are at stage. So it's not like letting someone very close to you, your heart, your mind. So it is very intense, yes, but it's not that intimate. So if someone is saying to you, I don't like your vocals, it's still the vocal style mostly. And this is absolutely fine because not everyone can handle this style. But if someone is telling you, I don't like your voice, and you're singing clean, it hurts much more. Yes. And so I wanted to learn about this, want to improve myself. And it's still a hard way for me because I'm not really safe at it at all at the moment. I'm trying to get better, okay? But every time when I start singing in front of strangers, let's say, it's a hard time for me because I'm not feeling so comfortable with this as I am doing with the harsher vocals, let's say. And that's the story. So different perspectives.
Yeah. Please tell us your journey as a musician.
Yeah, for sure. So I started with also in a early age of 16 or something like this with a punk band. We called ourselves Sodbrennen in German. It's a very good name for German punk band, I think.
Kiki, what's that in English?
It means heartburn. Yeah.
Great.
Heartburn.
There my first problem started because I was not able to sing in front of my band members because it was clean, but it was very roughly, and I didn't really want it to get loud, and that's the kind you are starting to sing, right? So it's always a struggle. Then I moved out of this because there was nothing we really did, but it's just a funny project. And I started then again when I was a student in I think end of 2015. And this was my first band after practicing guttural vocals at karaoke stages. So there was a time where we went every weekend to karaoke sessions in a pub in Cologne. Everyone said, okay, you need to make more out of it. And I was like, okay, I have to search for a band. Then I found something, and the band is still active. They are called Savior of Death, but they are doing it with the former of the band. He's now the vocalist. And we founded out of this Savior of Death group another group which is called Revenge of the Phoenix. And we had also there some metal, some clean vocals. And there is one close friend of mine was the songwriter, and I was more someone who just doing vocals, and he was writing everything, and I was for sure for the graphic design stuff responsible because no one else could do it. Later on, we figured out that it's not working because we wanted to do all different music styles, and it was not fitting together anymore. So I was asked by Convictive. This was something which was not very familiar to me because it was black metal. And to be honest, I was not really happy in doing this, but I wanted to try it because you cannot judge something you have not done. Let's say this. And so I wanted to try it, and I did it, I think 2.5 years. I don't know really the exact number of time, but something like this. And then I decided, or we both decided that it's not fitting. And now I'm searching for people which are more in my direction with this. I'm home in metalcore, modern metal, something with electronic styles maybe. So I want it to be a bit more modern, and I'm searching for the right people now because I don't want to make these huge compromises again because I saw that this is not working.
But that's also interesting because I read in several interviews that some musicians also in metalcore don't really listen to that music, but they do it anyways. So I think that counts for metal too. That it's just fun to do this on stage, and in their private life they listen to whatever. I don't know.
Reggae.
Maybe. Jazz. Something country. That is more...
Okay.
As long as it's not German Schlager, it's fine.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Kiki, what kind of band would you like to join?
Oh, that's an interesting question too. I forgot to mention, I think we've talked about this before as well for like a long time. our loyal listeners will know. But funny thing is, we just had Xandria as a guest here a few episodes ago. And I wanted to join them back in 2010 when they, for the very first time, second, started looking for a new singer. And the audition process went very well. And they were just starting to go into this symphonic metal, more symphonic, leaving the gothic part a little bit and going more in the symphonic direction. And they wanted somebody who could do the operatic vocals a little better. I do love symphonic metal still, but I as well have entered a metalcore phase of my life. I would find that really, really interesting. I've also always liked trip hop, like, rock poppy, electronic, progressive kind of things. I don't have really like a specific genre in mind right now, but I always like to combine different things. Yeah. And I've always liked like really heavy Korn-like bass lines and that kind of new metal-ish touch. It would be really interesting to just try things out. I don't know.
Both of you are also guest vocalists on several projects. Kiki, I think you do something on a kind of regular basis with Leechcraft, right? And then you record, there is a song also with you.
That was one time. And then I've done a few other collabs recently, yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, those have happened with my partner, and he's been very kind to invite me to do a few vocals on his latest record. That one just came out 2 weeks ago on February 28th. The album is called Lost and Wandering by Xavier Nelson, and I'm there in the only song that has vocals on it because it's a very electronic, ambient, super relaxing kind of thing. It's just like a whole hour-long trip musically. It's really nice to just listen to and chill. So that was like, techno. Funnily enough, when I was 17, 18, with the very first guitarist of my very first band, we also had an electronic song. And it was also like his project, and he invited me on it. It's funny to think that 20 years later, a little less, I did something like that again. Yeah, and then we did a cover of Volumes that's on YouTube. We did that last year, and that was a lot of fun. That's like the most recent things. Back in like 2013 or 15, I think I did a whole album with a power metal band, but the production was horrible, so please don't look it up.
I remember that. I remember you showed me and we talked about it.
It was very, very DIY. And I thought at first when I accepted and I joined it, I thought the ideas and the melodies were very cool. And then when I was there, it was all like MIDI and very, very homemade, and it just hurt.
Yeah, and I think you didn't take a lot of vocal takes, right? It was like, here's the vocal sheet, please sing.
No, not even that. It was rushed for sure, but it was also not even done. The deal was everything is ready, you just come in and sing. And when I was actually there, I had to do the vocal lines. I had to do half of the lyrics. There was still all so much to do, and then the quality was also not very good. So it was just a catastrophe.
Things that happen in the life of a musician.
Yes, we were young and needed the money. No, there was no money involved at all. But it was an interesting experience. I think we learned from everything, and power metal was something that I hadn't really ever thought about, and it was also fun to experiment on different parts of the voice, I guess.
I think about doing a hot take. Symphonic metal doesn't really exist. It's just power metal, but with female vocals.
No. No.
What's the difference? Now that you mentioned it was new to you, or that you did something different while singing.
You're not serious, are you? You're trolling me.
I am. Because when you listen to early Nightwish stuff, for example, okay, they didn't have the orchestra in there back then, but if they would have had a male singer, it would have been power metal 100%, and nobody would have thought about claiming it opera metal or something like that.
I'm trying to think of male operatic vocals and whether you immediately classify it as power metal.
I think so. Blind Guardian, for example.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of Sonata Arctica, Camelot.
Yeah.
Those are not completely operatic, but they are like very clean.
Yeah, very powerful, obviously.
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name of the Russian band with operatic vocals, both male and female.
And there is also the band that we also saw at Metal Female Voices Fest, and we interviewed them. What was their name? Something with a T, I think. When we finish this recording,
we will go down memory lane and try to remember stuff. But the difference between power metal and symphonic metal is, I think, also in the lyrics, the topics each handle or deal with, and also the music itself. The thing about symphonic metal, and it's in the name, it has more orchestra, a symphonic orchestra, instruments that belong there. And even though power metal does sometimes, it's not the essence of power metal. Power metal, for me, it's the very heroic, very
Rhapsody
adventurous, D&D.
Warriors. Rhapsody of Fire.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Warriors. I said warriors.
Warriors, yes, perfect. That's yeah. Total heroes and warriors and Dungeons and Dragons, and with very that kind of epic music, epic in the sense of that motivation and ambience and symphonic metal is huge choirs and orchestras, and you may have some. Maybe not dragons. You may have some drama, but it's just a different feeling too.
Okay.
And the female voices, yeah. Although I don't know, nowadays this age leaves ice, for example, with the whole Vikings thing. I would classify them more as power metal, even though they have operatic vocals, female operatic vocals.
Yeah, that's a huge topic because singer changed and stuff like that, and let's not go there.
Yeah.
Let's go back to collaborations. Jen, you also had some collaborations on records, and also you were on stage with, for example, CALIBAN. Please tell us about your fresh history as a musician.
Yeah, I would say this was crazy, but let's be a bit more in the history. So there are some friends of mine in the underground metal, which keeping me over the water, let's say, and helping me not to drown without doing music. And this is very, very nice, and I appreciate that so much. So we have something on Call of Coron. They invited me to have a feature on their new single, The Cleansing. I had some feature with one of my closest friends, which I was in Savior of Death and Revenge of the Phoenix with, who has founded a Cryosys band. And there is a song called 25-8. And I was very happy to feature him at his first debut album, let's say. That was very, very cool, and I love that. I'm always featuring We Awake on stage. This was also some very cool things. Just getting back on stage and having fun with them. We have still our side project, Beershot Sisters, which is something like a cover project, and we do something when our time allows to do stuff. But this is still a thing we are trying to bring a bit forward. And yes, the main event last year was CALIBAN. This was really an honor to be on stage with these guys. And you always tell, okay, don't meet your heroes. They could be rude or something like this. But I cannot say something like this about this band, because they were so friendly, so nice. I had one day which I could join them in backstage and stuff like this, and it was very familiar, very cool. They were very nice people, and that was nice to learn how this in a professional kind of way is working. Having sound check with them, and at least be on stage with this band and perform the song Virus. And I was very nervous right before the song, honestly, because it was in my hometown, and the live music hall was quite full, and I have played some bigger shows, but this was the biggest, and you don't want to mess up at this point in time. But everyone was so nice on stage. I know the guitar tech just helped me because I was falling down when I walked up the steps to the stage or something like this. So he helped me not to fall. That was very nice. And the audience was also very, very cool. So they welcomed me like one of the band, and they were really partying what I was doing. And I had some meetings with members of Ghost Kid, for example, and they were also very nice. And the feedback after the show was very great. So, it's a special feeling when people are coming to you, which have made it and are professional musicians, let's say, and coming to you and say, okay, you have to be there. This is what you can do, and you are very good at what you're doing. And if you get this feedback from these people, it means a lot. So it was very, very crazy day for me. Honestly, afterwards, I was falling into a little hole because it was so a hype thing for me, let's say. And I knew that this will not happen again very soon because I have not the right musicians to do that. And so this was a very hard time, but now I'm trying to take this experience and try to be more optimistic. And of course, I'm searching and trying to bring something forward. I had some help in bringing a demo to life with which I can search for the right people. And so it's going forward.
Yeah, cool. First of all, I remember when I saw you were on stage with CALIBAN, I watched every single Instagram story because I thought, oh, well, that's so cool. Very good job. Yeah, you were just leading into my next question. What are you doing right now to find a new band? What are the possibilities you also have? Because maybe there are some people out there who also search for a new band, who could need inspiration, like a platform where you can like eBay Kleinanzeigen, like I'm looking for a band and stuff like that.
So I think in the last 1.5 years, I've tried everything. So there are different platforms you can go to. And I think the most famous one is Backstage Pro, where are a lot of
in
people.
Germany,
Yeah, in Germany. I also tried eBay Kleinanzeigen. I tried one app. It's called Vamper. It is like a musician Tinder, something like this. So I can also swipe right and left if you like someone or not.
How's that going? Are there more people on it? Because I knew it since they launched it, and back then there were so little people that you could search the whole world and wouldn't have found the fitting person.
Yeah, I would say it is okay-ish when you're not into a subgenre. So if you are searching more open, like popish or more general music, let's say, it is better. In metal, it's difficult, but I have found some people there, but it was not very good in the response of the people. So they just ghosted you sometimes after. That has happened so much in this today's culture, let's say. Yeah, and we have Mucken. This is also a German website or app you can use. And I tried music store, music search, and I tried the same for Thomann. So there are some things. Also, Facebook is still a thing in musician search. So because you can reach the people in groups much easier. But yeah, I tried all these platforms to connect with people. And it's the same as usual. Sometimes it's not fitting about things you want to make. Sometimes the characters are not fitting to each other. Sometimes it's just you will be ghosted. Sometimes you have not the same skill level. So there are a lot of factors which are not so easy to handle, let's say. But yeah, there are some options still, and you just have to find it, I think.
Mm. What are your plans with your demo CD?
Yeah, it's not really a CD, it's just one track for the moment. It is very rough. It is more a sketch, let's say. The plan is to use this. So I embedded this to my Backstage Pro account and to make it more visible for people what I'm searching for, to have more clear communication and not getting asked for projects I don't want to join. So I added this to say, okay, this is the direction I just want to go. And I'm happy to make some compromises, but I will not go to symphonic metal, for example, because I cannot do this. So I think it's crazy what the people which are doing this can do, but I cannot, and I simply don't want. So I would like to be asked for things I just want to do and not for stuff, like I don't want or I don't can.
Does that happen often that people ask you to join a symphonic metal band?
Yes. So it is very often the case that people think, okay, this is a woman which is searching for a metal band or a band, so she's singing clean. I don't know, there was some point in time where it happened so often where I was just asking one of these guys like, hey, you see my announce and you see what I'm searching for. And I really have to ask you this one now. Why are you thinking that I'm doing clean vocals? And he was like, yet now you're asking. I can explain that in my mind that you are a woman and you just have to be a clean singer. That I'm very surprised by myself now. And I was like, okay, but you have to check the references. You just putting me into some boxes I'm not in. And there's no thought about, that could be something else. Yeah, felt not really great, to be honest. And I don't want to push everything on gender, but I think some men have some problems with women which are doing harsh vocals.
Yeah, I think so too. Also because it maybe does not fit the image maybe that they want to have. Like you often have this Beauty and the Beast image when there is another singer, a male singer who can do the harsh vocals as well.
Or it is just plain ignorance. Yes, let's call it what it is. It is ignorance.
Yes.
Because, of course, there are a lot of female singers who can do both. And we have had that discussion before. And maybe it's also worth talking about that here. How or maybe why so many. And I mean, we all have our personal reasons, of course. And it's not less valid to want to be able to do everything just because. But there is this trend of more and more female vocalists wanting to do everything. Well, we would never expect that from male vocalists. But it's like as if we wouldn't have female vocalists who have only done harsh vocals in the past as a reference, right? We have Angela Gossow, the former singer of Arch Enemy. She only did harsh vocals.
Sabina Klaassen, even older, Holy Moses.
Yeah. And I mean, Alisa, the current Arch Enemy vocalist, has a beautiful, clean voice. And she's very skilled, but her main thing is still the harsh vocals, right? Yeah. So it's just like, maybe the person didn't know about these bands at all, didn't know about these other women. Melissa Cross, Zen of Screaming, the teacher of harsh vocals, the most famous teacher of harsh vocals in the world, also just teaches harsh vocals. I don't know if she even can sing clean or does or likes or wants to, but that's not what she shows to the world. So the people who think women can only sing or can at least sing clean, and if they are vocalists and are looking for a band, they must do that, and the other things are on top, are just, living a little bit under a rock.
Kiki, can you please stop stealing my questions?
I'm sorry. I'm not used to being a guest, okay?
It's all fine.
Yeah, but just one sentence to this, because there was another thing I was really thinking about, and I'm struggling right now about, is that this guy told me that he showed the whole band my vocals, and they were all impressed that I'm so professional, which I think
good for a girl.
Yeah, right.
But was it because, was it like they were good and period, or was it they were impressed because you're a girl? Because that would be bad.
I'm not sure about that. This is exactly the point where I started to think about, because at the first read, I was thinking like, okay, this could be a compliment or not. So I'm not really
This could be
sure.
a compliment or a microaggression.
Yeah.
Not to be a snowflake about it, but
but it's just a struggle because of the note he wrote before, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you are a clean singer. I don't know.
I have the impression that if they add a female band member, they want to have more benefit than just the vocals. They want to have this image.
A 3-in-1. A 3-in-1.
They want to have someone who looks attractive in the common way that people see attractiveness. I don't want to say that it's all of the bands, of course not, but
No.
But some maybe think that, yeah, we're adding a woman to the band, and we want to have someone who does the clean vocals, looks nice, and will make up a new audition for us, or a new audience for us.
Yeah.
That reminded me of, because you're very right. And also it could be they want to have the benefit, they need a token woman in the band so that they can go to events and be part of festivals where where the festival's initiative is to diversify the festival. And so, you have a woman, we can fit you in the lineup better than an all-male band. And yeah, you know how there are those 3-in-1 shampoos or soaps, usually for men. It's hair, body, and face wash all in one. So the musicians go like, she looks good, she's a woman, and she can also sing clean and harsh vocals. It's the whole package.
Yeah, that was something they said as well. They said, yeah, we have a male shouter, but from a woman we expect more. This was exactly the sentence.
Wow.
And this is not very the way how you make you look very sympathetic, let's say. Yeah, but these are experiences you have to deal with, right?
It's sad that you have to deal with them.
Yeah.
I thought better. I don't know if you remember, Pia, but we had this talk where you asked us how we see the metal scene in context of female persons in the scene. And I was quite very positive, but the last 1.5 years showed me another face of this. And
I'm sorry I made you look at it, and now you see it everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think we have so much work. We have so much work to do. So it's very good to capture this topic again.
Yes. But Kiki, I also wanted to ask you, because you said you start learning harsh vocals right now. I want to provoke you a bit. Do you have the impression you need to learn the harsh vocals now so you can find a band? Or I don't know, that it's something that you have to do because everybody expects this from you? Or why do you do that?
Ooh, I wish. No. That's a good one. That's a good one. A good provocation. I mean, for me, it has just come up out of necessity almost. It started a few years ago, even before I completely went into the metalcore direction for my listening habits. It started with bands like Forever Still. I just like those songs. And now even way more with Spirit Box. I've been listening to Future Palace a lot as well. Ginger too. It's just, I like these songs so much. I want to be able to sing them. And it just frustrates me not to be able to. You know, I used to listen to Epica all the time and to Nightwish all the time. And those were my goals. And because I love those songs so much, those became my goals. And I wanted to be able to sing those. And then I did. And, you know, then I needed a new challenge, I guess. And now I want to do this and just be able to hype myself up with those songs and just do them all, I guess. And also because it is, just from the technical perspective, it is really, really interesting to me to learn to use all of the other parts of the anatomy that is there, that I don't know how to use just yet, that I'm discovering. It's just really interesting to be able to make weird new sounds that are completely different from what you've been doing for 20 years. That's how I see that. I do think that that is what I fear. And that is why this topic is so interesting to me. When I look at young female vocalists that are just starting to grow up into one, I'm thinking teenage years, right? That are in their teenage years right now and want to make heavy music, and they think, look at the singer of Spirit Box, look at the singer of Relica, look at the singer of Future Palace. They can do it all. If I cannot do it all as a woman, I won't make it in the metal scene. And it is as a woman, because as I said, we don't expect this from dudes. We don't expect, I'm using him as a reference a lot, Matt Heafy from Trivium, to all of a sudden be able to sing an opera aria. We don't expect that from any of the male singers in the scene. Why would it be a requisite?
Yeah, we just added second singer for this, you know?
Yeah, and two singers in bands are also completely valid and are also completely, I think bands like that are really, really cool when they all can do it all. And just, the thing is, we all have completely different anatomies and styles and interpretations, emotional interpretations of songs, right? Which means even though we dominate the same techniques, doesn't mean we're going to sing the same song in exactly the same manner, which means we're not in competition with one another, right? So if we put two singers to sing the same song with the same band at the same time, you can have so much more dynamic and I don't know, make it a super cool duet that has all these different, all this variety. Yeah, Lacuna Coil, Amaranth, I love that kind of. And performance-wise on stage, it's amazing.
Yes.
So, yeah, that is always a possibility as well. But I do fear that because there are so many female vocalists now that can do it all, it's for whatever reason, that it will become this sort of expectation and double standard. Yeah.
I just thought, or I was doing lists in my head with bands with a female vocalist who can do it all. The list is very long. And with a male vocalist who can do it all, the list is very short. When I think about it more, there will come more bands in my mind. But I think about so many bands who have two vocalists. One would be We Came as Romans.
Ooh, can he do opera?
No. I'm on the level of who does clean vocals and the screams.
Yeah, but there we are, for example, at Ollie Sykes, which I think is a great vocalist. But when we think back, he developed himself to this. He was not like this in the very beginning. In the very beginning, when he started, they were a deathcore band. He was just doing the shouts, and I remember a time where his clean vocals were totally messed. For example, when you are going to saw them live, then it was not very good. And he developed himself and he learned very much, so that he's now a very, very talented and great vocalist. But that's not the expectation when he started his band, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, Matt Heafy is also a very good clean singer nowadays after his accident and his rehab and he's relearning to sing. And now he can also do both clean and harshes, but he doesn't do opera. That is my standard now. I won't accept any less, okay? So name one.
Tony Kakko from Sonata Arctica, but his vocals are special. The growls and the clean vocals.
That's true.
So no, there is none who I would say is very good at the operatic vocals and also very good in the screams and growls and stuff like that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have a Flor Jansen and a Marcela Bobbio and
Ambre Fourfakis, who's now the new Xandria singer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's 3 in our like closest vicinity.
Yes. People out there, please do some name dropping. Tell us about bands with a male singer, only one vocalist, who can do operatic vocals, normal, clean vocals, shouts, growls, everything.
Yes.
I want Will Ramos with operatic vocals.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That's the new standard. We will never find any vocalist for a metal band again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that shows how hilarious it is to set this as an expectation, especially in an environment where we all do this, or most of the musicians do this as a hobby, as a side project, as something that you do additionally to your everyday life that everyone has.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other difficulties that you experienced or still experience in searching for a band? Is there anything else that you want to add to this topic?
I think one thing is, I'm not really sure, but I think it was easier a few years ago to find people out there founding a band than today. I don't know if Corona or COVID is a topic still for the people, but I have the imagination, let's say, that after these 2 years of nothing was possible and stuff like this, it's so much harder to get people who are willing to take their free time to write songs, to improve their skills, to having some responsibilities in this, let's say. I in my point of view, it is very hard to get these people today, especially in founding a metal band. That's what I experienced.
I would think that there is a relation there, a correlation there, because on the one hand, the livelihoods of full-time musicians were completely shattered for a bit, at least when performing was not possible, when teaching face-to-face was not possible. There's been a rise in online music lessons. And there was a time where it was impossible to even go to rehearsal, right? So I do think that it has taken a hit. And, if as a starting musician, you can't imagine being able to perform or being able to earn your livelihood from that, then why start? That could be one as well. I think that's not very motivational. So that, like, just in general. And I think that maybe... I don't know, maybe music has suffered the most, or arts in general suffered the most from the pandemic, and it might still take a little bit of time to recover. Maybe as well the fact that a lot of people were starting to be able to or discovered working from home, being a little bit more mobile, right? Traveling a little bit more, and that makes it difficult to start a local project. That's my challenge right now. I have been traveling a lot in the past few years, even through the pandemic. I have been spending longer amounts of time in Ecuador, for example. And if I think of looking for a band, would I look here? And then all of a sudden say, I'm going away for 3 months. I won't be coming to practice.
Yeah, that
So
makes
I
sense.
wouldn't want to commit to a weekly practice or whatever it is. And practicing remotely is technologically not yet that easy because of latency issues, etc. So it's still, I think, affected and maybe will still need a bit of time to recover on that sense. On the other hand, though, last month, at the beginning of February, I was here in Dortmund at a meetup of local musicians, and the question of the panel was, or for the panel, was, is metal in this area dead, or where the hell are you hiding? Because the area right here in Germany has given birth to a lot of great bands, right? From Creator to Sodom to Electric Callboy.
Yeah.
There's also the big magazine Rock Hard, where Pia and I met each other ages ago. There are big producers. One of them, a friend of mine, Waldemar Zorichta, was in the panel. He was the producer of Lacuna Coil in the 90s. So there has been a lot going on in the metal scene in this region. And the question was, where are they hiding? And what is happening? Or is it dead? And there was a lot of people there. And it was really cool to see that there is still a lot of interest, that there's still a lot of young people interested and willing to put in the work, support initiatives on a political level as well, so that, you know, the government has more funds for this specific part of the music industry. And so that they also, you know, so that cities also get support for more venues that cater to our audience and that kind of stuff. So I think metal is never dead, obviously, but I think musicianship and forming bands or finding each other might take a little, but it's obviously still always possible and active.
I also think that it has to do with, we all have to figure out how everyday's life works after the pandemic. When I look at myself, I still have, for me, it's exhausting to be in a group of many people, for example, much more exhausting than it was before. And I think that many people struggle with just getting their life organized again, because in the pandemic, you had so much time on your own, and maybe you started new hobbies and stuff like that. And now you have to see how you can get everything together. So yeah, maybe if we can recover for a couple of months more, then that hopefully will change. So at least I see on myself that it's getting easier for me to be in groups. So I train this muscle and I kind of learn that again.
True. And that is also a good point to say, or I think it's never needless to say that the pandemic is not over. I think COVID will be a part of our lives for a while still. We have to acknowledge as well the people who caught the very bad types of the virus in the beginning and are still suffering from the side effects of long COVID. I myself am just recovering from my third time of COVID. Tested negative again today, even though I had all 4 vaccines and et cetera. So we still need to take care of each other and be careful on that side. Just life after the pandemic, there's no after just yet. And we're still all finding, as you were saying, Pia, finding how to keep living.
How to socialize.
How to work, how to function in today's world.
Yeah, for sure. It was, for example, very hard for me to get back to concerts. I really loved them, and I really loved also being in the pit, but I cannot do this anymore. So if some sweaty guy is coming to me and want to hug me, I'm just like, oh gosh, go away. Because I cannot do these close standing with strangers anymore. And this is also a learning to get back to this. I fully agree.
True. I don't know if it has a lot to do with the pandemic and stuff, or with the socializing, but you're right. There's this whole readapting and dealing with all of things. I went to a metal party recently and had a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's like I'm still not exactly sure what triggered it, but it was just this very weird situation. I was just glad I could get myself out of. And we're all still dealing with different ways of existing nowadays.
I hope we talked about the most important things on the topic. What music are you listening to right now, Kiki? What can you recommend?
I'm going to recommend collaboration, talking about collaborations, of our beloved Lindsay Schoolcraft. The song just came out 8 hours ago. Today is March 17th. And the song is called On Sight by Lil Titan, Lindsay Schoolcraft, Chill Panic, and Low. I have no idea who any of those are, but the song is really cool. I have listened a few times to it today, and there's a non-metal song I've been listening to on repeat this week. And it's called, it's very dancey. So whenever anybody's in a party mood and or just to hype yourself up, the song is called What I Want by Muna. And it's very poppy, it's very dancey, it's amazing. It's very queer. I love it.
Jenny, what have you been listening to recently?
So I'm like I said, I'm interested in genre mixes. So I'm really in love with the album from Kaizo, New Breed. And there are some famous metal singers also into this album. I can really recommend. And for because I had a show last week with Cryosis, and I have this earworm about the Cryosis album, which is also in my mind a masterpiece, which is not highly seen because it's quite new band, but I can recommend to listen into this if you are in some power metalish way, some more classic way of metal, then it could be something you like.
What about you, Pia?
I'm gonna record an episode for the Pommesgabel podcast together with Jenny in 2 weeks about We Game's Romance. So I've been listening to their whole discography a lot. New stuff, to mention some new stuff, Defocus have a new song out. We talked about this band several times on the podcast because they were also at the Euroblast festival, and they are very cool guys. So check them out if you haven't. And they dropped a new single called Biased, and they have a new producer. And so the sound is very different from their debut album. And I think they made a huge step in a new direction, and also everything is just one step further from what they did before. And I think that's very cool, or that is very, very nice also to hear from a band that you like musically, and where you also think, hey, the people in the band are really, really cool guys. Kiki, what have you been gaming recently?
Oh, I started this new game. Oh, 2, actually. I have been doing Vampire Wednesdays on my Twitch channel, and we've been getting through several RPG games from the Vampire the Masquerade universe, and those are really cool. Right now I'm on Shadows of New York, and that one is, and the stories are really, really interesting, so it's very nice, even though they're mainly pure text. There's nothing animated happening. But I also started The Artful Escape. It's a game about a guitarist who is a relative of a very, very famous musician, and kind of have to come to terms with living in the shadow of someone big in your family, and everybody wants you to be just like them and stuff like that. It's really cool. The art is beautiful. It's very purple, which is my favorite color as well. So it's a game. Everybody go check it out. Yes.
Jenny, how about you?
Yeah, I have also 2 games which I played in the last time. It was Sims 4. I just pulled it out of my sunken games, and it's still great. It's a low-brainer, so it's quite good, great when you are playing this after work or something like this. And the absolutely hyped game, Hogwarts Legacy. I'm a huge fan of this world, and I think this game is so amazing. And I'm through everything, so story is 100% ready now, and I'm just amazed by this game. I really love what they have done.
Just started a few weeks ago with Forspoken on my PlayStation 5. And I hyped myself about the game. I didn't know anything about the story. I only saw gameplay snippets on Instagram because I followed their Instagram channel. And it was like, oh, I want to do that. I don't know what this game is about, but I want to play that. It looks so cool. And yeah, the story is also very good up to the point where I am now. I think I made it through the first 10% or something. So I'm not so far in the game, but I already like it a lot. And I'm very hyped to see what the story leads me to. There are a lot of cats. The main character, or the character that you play, is a cat person.
Right? Isn't it like a cat with wings, like a dragon cat?
I haven't met one, but I also saw that on the Instagram channel that you can meet them.
Yeah, a friend of mine is playing that game as well, and it's really cute.
Yay.
I need dragons.
That sounds like something I have to discover.
To get back to the topic of the episode again a bit at least, where can people find you and check out what you've done as musicians? I think, Jenny, you also do something on your Instagram channel on a weekly basis, I think.
It was on a weekly base, but in the last weeks I was so busy playing Hogwarts. But I will try to make this up again and come back in a weekly base. I think it was every Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like this. Everything is on Instagram, on Cthulhu's 13. And for sure, the old stuff we are doing with Beershot Sisters on YouTube as Beershot Sisters.
Nice. Kiki, where can people find you?
Where can people find my music? I'm not even sure. I'm on Bandcamp and Reverb Nation. I know that. And always with my same handle, Kiki GE87. Yeah, otherwise just hit me up on Instagram or something, on Twitch. Over there, we always link the covers and the collabs that we've made. I haven't been looking for a band too actively, but I'm always open for collabs and things and ideas. So, yes.
And you can find the podcast everywhere at Bleeding Metal Pod on every podcatcher. And I think we only do Instagram nowadays. So yeah, that's also Bleeding Metal Pod.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, though, before I forget, if you go to our Instagram, and do give us a follow if you haven't already, you can go to our link tree there and find a link to my Discord.
Yay!
It is a special podcast channel in my Discord server, and you can have access to that and get a little message whenever we have released a new podcast. You can also communicate with us over there, leave us your questions, suggestions, anything. If you are a friend of Discord and have used it for a while, then otherwise it's really easy to set up. So yeah, it's my little social media bubble. So there's a lot of close-up personal interaction that you can have with us. It's been on there for a few months now. I think I set it up at the end of January, but we haven't talked about it. And it was finally time to say it. So yes, we also have questions and polls, yes, and surveys, and on the Spotify. So do give us a follow over there and answer. We have a few answers. It's always really interesting to see somebody answer our questions.
And nice. Yes, thank you for listening when you made it up until here. And I hope to have you next time in the audience as well.
And thanks for joining us, Joko. And thanks for being
sharing
the host
story
today, Pia.
Yes, my pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks for the invitation. Was very, very cool. Bye.
Bye. Bye.